Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today I will react to geography now, Luxembourg, and maybe I will also react today to Israel or Liechtenstein. I'm not sure yet. I consider both. I will see what I want after this video, but at first I will react to this video. My little German or French or both speaking neighbor. Yeah. I'm curious. I'm looking forward to it. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to support me. You can also unsubscribe later, so please do it and help me out. I watched some other videos. I have made a video about Minecraft recently, 2 hours and 16 minutes long. So if you want to see 100 days of Minecraft, just take a look, click on the E or go to my videos. It is one of the recent videos. Yeah, let's just start with this video. Yeah, I'm curious.
We are so lucky today.
Oh, and I forgot probably to turn on the audio. Maybe you also already heard something, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if the tool records the sound if the speakers are not activated or turned on. Now they are turned on, and now I also hear something, so we start again.
We are so lucky today because we are doing Luxembourg. Yeah!
Punched at this moment for making a bad pun, but the punching guy was not available at this time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have seen this recent many times with so yeah, we will continue. Interesting. Luxembourg. Yeah, that's not a good joke.
Just make sure you don't call it Little Switzerland. Okay?
It's time to learn geography.
Now! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. I once had a conversation with a German guy and it kind of went like this. Hey, so what's interesting in Luxembourg? Like, what do people do when they go there? Like,
you can open up a bank account, it's pretty cool.
okay, anything else? Like, what else?
I mean, you could also leave, too.
No, but seriously, Luxembourg is kind of like this curiously distinct nation with a lot of mixed...
Just leave or have a bank. I mean, it's kind of a haven for people who want to avoid taxes. It's for so many companies have the Sitz in German, Sitz, the base, I don't know how to say it in English, there, so they don't need to pay taxes. But many companies are registered. Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it in English. To avoid paying taxes.
hybrid culture cues that have
But
jumped
there's of course much more going on probably than just this.
up to create what it is today. Oh, and it's like super small. You can drive across the entire nation in like 45 minutes. Let's find out where it is on the map now, shall we? You know what's funny? I feel like we're kind of just playing copy and paste because we did Liechtenstein, another rich landlocked microstate tax haven, and now it's happening again. First of all, Luxembourg is a landlocked nation located in Western Europe, right along the tri-point of...
I mean, I recently read about Luxembourg a bit, and I think it is about 12,000 square kilometers, so it is much larger than Liechtenstein or many of the smaller Pacific islands.
France, Germany, and
No,
Belgium.
it is 2,500 square kilometers. I'm stupid. What was the Pacific nation with 12,000? Vanuatu, I don't know the exact name. Maybe I will even do a reaction for this country next, because I didn't know the real name.
The country is only about 35 miles or 57 kilometers wide and 51 miles or 82 kilometers long, making it just barely under 1,000 square miles in area or 2,500 square kilometers. The country is made up of 12 cantons, with the capital of Luxembourg City located in the south, which also acts as one of the 3 capitals of the EU in addition to Brussels, Belgium, and Strasbourg, Germany. Luxembourg City also holds the European Court of Justice.
PS also Frankfurt, Germany, okay. Central Bank.
The highest judicial authority in the EU. Out of the 12 main towns and cities, the largest ones after Luxembourg City are Esch-sur-Alzette and Differdange. The country has one main airport, Luxembourg City International, close to the capital, which is actually the 5th busiest cargo transporting airport in Europe, servicing 3 large shipping airlines, Cargolux, China Airlines Cargo, and Qatar Airways Cargo. Yeah, when you want to make quick cash, you gotta make yourself a transport hub with great international trade rates. You know what I'm talking about, Singapore. What can I say? Now, traditionally, the country is kind of divided into 2 main regions when it comes to population. populous. The Ösling or IJsselmeer in the north, which has most of the higher hills and forests, and the flatter Gutland in the south, where about 85% of the population lives. Luxembourg actually used to be a lot larger in the past until 3 partitions happened from the French, Prussians, and finally the Belgians in the 1800s. To add insult to injury, they actually named their largest southern region touching Luxembourg the Luxembourg region. For such a small land area though, Luxembourg is incredibly compact.
That's funny.
With amazing ancient sites and landmarks and businesses, over 100 castles, 75 of which were built in the Middle Ages. I mean, there's a reason why they were labeled the European capital of culture twice. Over 150 main banks and many companies like Skype, Amazon, Pepsi, JP Morgan, FedEx, and IKEA have their European headquarters in Luxembourg. So yeah, this place knows how to keep busy with commerce. Speaking of which, some notable sites of interest might include the Luxembourg Catacombs, the old quarter of Luxembourg City.
The European headquarters of IKEA is in Luxembourg. That's funny because I mean they came from Sweden, so why not having their headquarters? But probably because of the taxes. The taxes you don't have to pay there, or not have to pay so much.
The National Museum of History and Art, the Bakken City casements and tunnels, the Mondorf-les-Bains, Clairvaux Castle and Abbey, Burdorf Rocks, Parc Mavillot, smaller castles like Beaufort, Hollenfels, Bourchide, La Rochette, and the Grand Ducal Palace of Luxembourg. Lots of stuff happening in such a small space. Speaking of which, let's jump into the landscape now. Luxembourg is sometimes referred to as the green heart of Europe. Speaking of which, they do kind of have the highest ecological footprint in the world. First of all, as mentioned before, the northern part of the country, or the Ösling Highlands, are part of the greater Ardennes hilly range that extends across south.
This
Northern part of the country, or the Ösling Highlands, are
this IJsselmeer, Ösling, or IJsselmeer. IJsselmeer sounds German. I mean, IJsselmeer kind of licking on the ice thing. In English. Interesting. I mean, they have German people live there, so it's kind of, as I said in the introduction, kind of German and French, I think, are the major languages spoken there.
Part of the greater Ardennes hilly range that extends across South Belgium into Germany, with the tallest peak at only 560 meters, Neef Summit, just 1 meter taller than Bergplatz, which is often mistaken for the highest point, but it's not. Most of the country's 30% forest coverage can be found here and in the eastern Mullertal forest. From here, the important rivers, the Sur, Volz, and Alzette all join up in the middle, whereas the largest body of water being the upper Sur Lake Reservoir. However, the longest river is the Moselle, flowing along the border with Germany in the east. Whew. All right, technical facts out of the way. Let's see, some other things to note. Luxembourg only gets about 61 days of sunshine a year, so get your vitamin D supplements.
Amateur.
They have the highest consumption of wine per capita out of any country in Europe. Wrong. I challenge you to wine off Luxembourg. Fake Luxembourg. They also have the highest rate.
Andorra, I mean, it's right between France and Spain, so France and Spain. Both countries, I think, consume a lot of wine, so.
Of car ownership at about 650 per 1,000 residents. The national animal is the goldcrest bird and the lion, because Africa, right?
Actually, in ancient times, lions did naturally inhabit parts of southern Europe and Asia. However, today, due to human interaction and natural environment shifts, they're actually almost exclusively in Europe and Asia.
This as a historic distributions. I'm sorry, and the present distributions. So today, the most lions live in Africa and a bit in India, but mostly in Africa, mostly in Tanzania and Chad and Central African Republic.
However, today, due to human interaction and natural environment shifts, they're actually almost exclusively found in Africa.
Oh, Noah, thank goodness you're here, okay? Because I've been meaning to take a break from teaching these freaking annoying, the adorable subscribers of mine. I need a triple shot of espresso, okay? You know how the teleprompter works. The audience loves.
Ich musste nur was kurz. Sorry, I just spoke German. I had just to do something for a moment. Now I'm back and yeah, we are in Luxembourg, and I said that I would after this maybe react to Vanatau. Sorry if I mispronounce this, but the episode about this country is obviously not out yet because it starts with V and just like Vietnam and other countries with other letters before V and T, between V and T, it's not out yet, so I can't react to it. later. Yeah, let's just continue with the video.
Okay, take it away.
You got it, dude. Historically, Luxembourg didn't really have too much going on prior to the 20th century, and it wasn't until huge iron ore deposits were found in the South Redlands that really kicked off their industry output. Today, the world's largest steel producer, ArcelorMittal, merged with the Indian Mittal Company, is headquartered in Luxembourg City and today produces nearly 100 million tons of steel annually. But steel isn't Luxembourg's financial trophy. In fact, the industry has been in decline since the 70s. What really gave Luxembourg a boost was the financial and banking sectors. In 1929, they passed the holding law, which meant that corporate holding companies would be allowed to manage their subsidiaries in Luxembourg for incredibly low tax rates, some as low as 1%. Finally, in the late 90s and early 2000s, known as the golden age during the online business and tech boom in which they doubled their GDP per capita in only 5 years by a complex system of business and management deals. This, however, did lead to the subsequent Lux leaks in 2014, in which tax evasion techniques were released to the public from a team of accountants. This was a huge deal, which then led politicians calling for reforms all over the world.
Whew, cool. Thanks a lot, Noah.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
So anyway, some of the top dishes of the country might include things like fried potato pancakes, boiled pork meat with beans, human-shaped brioche pastries, and kachkais. Speaking of food,
What was this?
No problem, buddy.
So anyway, some of the top dishes of the country might include things like fried potato pancakes, boiled pork meat with beans, human-shaped brioche.
Boxermännchen? Sounds funny. It reminds me on something which happens here in Germany also on the 6th of December, St. Nicholas Day, which was a kind of Christian person in the history which did good things for other people, and I don't know the exact story right now, but it is a Christian figure, St. Nicholas. And here we make some also it was not even Saint Nicholas. I'm stupid. Saint Martin. I will put a link to the English Wikipedia page about this guy in the description. But the thing is, it is, I think, not the 6th of December, but the 11th of November, where you make this kind of figures, also human shaped, and yeah, I will put a link in the description. I mixed up something, I'm sorry.
Brioche pastries and
but they are definitely cute, those little guys. Yeah.
And kachkais. Speaking of food, are you in the mood for some Luxemburgers?
Oh yeah, we are gonna have a beat down in the next episode. I wonder what would be the next episode. Luxembourg, maybe Liechtenstein?
Luxemburger, that's what you call somebody from this country. Luxembourgish is what you call the language and something from this country.
Here I am back again. I just had to do something. Now we'll continue with the video. I don't know where I stopped. Luxembourgish? Yes, we had just, he told just about some food. The Boxenmännchen I found quite interesting, so let's continue.
Luxembourgeois is the French word for both, but the locals here call it Luxembourg. Remember in the Belgium episode, we talked about how Belgium is kind of like a mix between Dutch and French influences? Well, Luxembourg is like a mix between German and French, but don't exactly say that to them, even though they all literally speak German and French. We'll get to that in a bit, but first of all, the country has about 600,000 people and is the second richest country per capita after Qatar. The nation is about 56% native Luxembourger, whereas about 17% are actually Portuguese, 7% French, and the rest are made up of a slew of other nations, mostly Europeans, with a few Asians and Africans mixed in. They use the euro as their currency, they use the Type C and F plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Back to the language thing. Luxembourg is pretty much a trilingual nation. Every citizen learns German at age 6, French at age 7, and in high school the language switches from German to French. The citizens though usually all start off with the national language Luxembourgish, which is a Germanic language related to German, but do not call it a dialect of German. They hate it when
It's similar to the Austria episode, I guess, you know. I mean, well, I said also in the Austria episode. There are many different kind of German languages. Or German, I mean, what means by German? I mean, there was maybe a historic language, all of the other languages were a part of, or developed from, and this is just, we speak kind of a German language. The Austrians speak kind of a German language. Probably Luxembourgish is also kind of a similar language, or we all have maybe a common historic language where our language each develops from. So I don't say that that Luxembourgish is a dialect of German, as I also not say that Austria is a dialect of German. They are just all similar languages and have maybe a common root in a common historic language they all developed from. So I don't know how this ancient language was maybe called, so but maybe we all speak the dialect of this ancient language. Kind of. Okay.
When you say that, even though the two are not that far off, I mean, you get some discrepancies like für wat versus warum, Klinik versus that far off. I mean, you get some discrepancies like für wat versus
Für what? Warum? Why? For what? Yeah, I mean, you see, I like this. It has some as the second word he says a moment here.
versus warum, Klinik versus
Yeah, Klinik, Krankenhaus. There are some similarities. It's interesting. Maybe I will even try to learn at some point Luxembourgish. Let's see.
Krankenhaus, Pik versus Kugelschreiber, and the list goes on and on. There's websites devoted to this. But overall, the grammar and syntax are pretty intelligible. But it's definitely not a dialect. Overall, yeah, they learn English in school at around age 12, so in a sense, many people might actually be quadrilingual, but all administration and media are published mostly in French or German or Luxembourgish if you request it. And nowadays, Portuguese is spoken everywhere too, since nearly a fifth of their population is Portuguese. Luxembourg is also a hereditary constitutional monarchy with the last Grand Duchy in the world. What is a Grand Duchy? Keith, explain.
It's like something to do with a duke and royalty, I think. It was under the Holy Roman Empire thing, and everyone was like, whoa, let's just make a big country instead. But Luxembourg was like, no way, I'm gonna stay the way I am.
Dude, Keith, that was actually a really accurately condensed summary.
Dude, it's like whatever, man, you know?
Wow.
Obviously.
Keith, it's Keith. Oh, Keith. Basically, Henry Grand Duke of Luxembourg has been reigning since 2000. He married Cuban-born Maria Teresa Mestre y Batista, had 5 children with her. His legislative duties are limited as a constitutional monarch. He can appoint the prime minister, ambassadors, dissolve the Chamber of Deputies. He's commander-in-chief of the rather small army of about 800. He also acts as a representative in diplomatic affairs. Him and his family also live in Berg Castle. Now, despite the influx of wealth over the years, they do have the largest external debt per capita, though, at around 3.5 million per citizen. So that's 3.5 million times 600,000 for the population. Whoa.
Yeah, but if your rate of fiscal growth exceeds that of your deficit percentage, your country is still categorically in the clear, technically.
Oh, okay, so they're still good then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's kind of why after all those Lux leaks, they were like, hey, let's follow the US and invest in space mining. That'll expand our portfolio. I swear, these episodes are becoming more and more like a consumer economics course. Culture-wise, Luxembourgers are quite unique in that they kind of have to coalesce 2 worlds of the French and German sides while maintaining their own native one. To varying degrees of devotion, about 87% claim to be at least part of the Roman Catholic Church. They're the last country to have the formal dancing procession celebrated on Wheat Tuesday, the day after Pentecost, in which 10,000 men, women, and children gather in Echternach, honoring the 7th century monk St. Wilfrid by doing a 1.5-kilometer hopping dance. Speaking of which, history! This dude in 963 AD basically built
Siegfried, Count of Ardennes. Siegfried, of course, it reminds me on the opera of Richard Wagner. With a equal name, similar, the same name, Siegfried. The Dragon Slayer, maybe you know him as this.
a fort. From there, Luxembourg City is developed. Wars over ownership with the Holy Roman Empire, Dutch, French, and even Spain was involved for some reason. 1939 independence, some drama with Belgians and Prussians. Both world wars invaded by Germany. 1950s is one of the founding members of ECSC, the predecessor to what would become the EU. 1980s, money starts really flowing in. 2000s, money really starts flowing in. 2014 Lux leaks, the space mining thing comes in, and here we are today. Some notable people of Luxembourgish descent might include Jean-Claude Juncker, Josie Bartel, the Schlecht brothers, Kim Kirkin, Charlie Gall, Giles Mueller, Edward Steichen, Georges Christian, Jimmy Zabello, and David Goldrake, and of course the noble family of Luxembourg. Sweet, that just about does it for this segment. Let's move on to the last part, the
Friend song. Germany is of course probably a good friend, as the same goes for France, I guess.
All across the world, you get places like Luxembourg, small yet powerful. And when you are a country like that, everything becomes kind of strategic for the very continuity of your existence. France and Germany are, of course, really close. They give their biggest business and trade with Luxembourg. The people can communicate perfectly fine. People cross the border to either work or shop in the country every day, plus alcohol and gas are usually cheaper. Portugal and to some extent Cabo Verde are close friends, as they make the largest minority group in Luxembourg. Radio stations sometimes even play Portuguese music and broadcast to accommodate. Of course, as part of Benelux, the Netherlands does great business and trade. They love stopping by and hanging out with their southern friends. However, most Luxembourgers I talked to have said Belgium is probably the best friend. Before the euro was introduced, they pegged their old currencies. They could even exchange them. And the Luxembourg military trains often in Belgium. On top of that, Grand Duke Henry's mom was Belgian, which makes him cousins with the current king of Belgium, King Philippe. In conclusion, it's really no surprise why Luxembourg was selected to be the host of one of Europe's capitals. It in itself is a melting pot of pan-Europeanism with a populace that prides itself on being versatile. Stay tuned! Madagascar is coming up next.
So in Madagascar episode, he gets punched for his bad jokes of this episode. So I should react to Madagascar next, but yeah, let's see. I will just decide this spontan. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed my reaction to it. Please subscribe for my YouTube channel if you have not already done it. I would like to reach 25 subscribers before the end of the year. I think that's possible. You can make this possible. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.